See, a lot of people don't understand, which I feel is that, once you start working for a, hardcore FMCG or FMCD company, the kind of exposure that it gives across, you learn a lot in the job. It's like one part is that Porter and all that, studying all that. What's that book we used to study? All that is fine. But once you start working in the field, it's very completely different. Working with cross-functional teams like the strategy teams, marketing teams, branding, promotional teams, and obviously the actual job where you're working with distributors, retailers, getting the job done. Like there are ample difficulties that come during the process because market is very unpredictable. There are so many competitors in the market in every category, at least for these top companies. It's very different, but the kind of skill sets that you pick up during the work, it's very, I think so, will take you in the long run. Calcutta doesn't change. It's been 20 years, 30 years, it's the same, and the food is same, the place is same. And when people get together, they still talk about those 3-4 people. Like it has to be, might be Satyajit Ray, it has to be Rabindranath Tagore, it has to be Saurabh Ganguly, it has to be those 4-5 people, those places, those food. Like that is different nostalgia for Bengalis. Obviously it's home.
Hey folks, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Saurabh. Welcome to Polka. Today we are going to talk with Shekhar Roy, one of my close friends. He was with me in my college, and Shekhar and I have finally got some time to do this together. Shekhar, welcome to Polka. How are you? This is your second episode with us.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. Finally, I'm here. It's been a long wait. I've been pestering you for long. I know for this. Finally, you found time for me. Actually, it's the other way around.
Yeah, I know. You are the busy one. Shekhar works for Jio Hotstar, and it's like one of those sexy companies, right?
Sexy. Sounds sexy, definitely.
Yeah, definitely, right? And you were actually someone who, wanted to always get into media and entertainment, and
You would know
you
that
did
well.
get it.
I have been telling you for the longest time.
I know. And one thing's very special thing about Shekhar is like he's in sales. He works for Jio Hotstar, but that is not the most interesting part, career-wise at least. The most interesting part is like Shekhar is one of the very few people who I know who has actually successfully managed to change industries. Okay, and I honestly know very few people who have been able to do it. In my case, also I have been able to do it, but it is still I
That's
went
coming
from
to
IT
actually.
to
You've been
tech.
able to do that also. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still IT to tech. It's like cousins. In your case, like you went from
Different.
manufacturing to media and
Actually, yeah,
entertainment. Yeah,
completely.
that was a huge jump that you have made. So I have massive respect for you. But yeah, Shekhar, just tell me a bit about, tell our audience a bit about yourself, your journey so far. What are you up to? And by the way, we have 1,500 plus subscribers now. So if you remember the last
Lovely.
time we did this 7 years ago or 8 years ago, I think so, 7 years ago.
7 years ago.
And that time I think I had like 30 subscribers or something.
It
So from
started off.
there to 1,500, yeah, after I took it seriously, I think we're at a good number right now. Tell me a bit about it.
So, just to start off, yeah, thanks for having me again. I know it's been a really good journey, like because you started off on that note. 7 years ago, I was still in Crompton. Back then, it was a completely. So I always wanted to start off with sales. You would know because in people who come into sales and marketing, they take an MBA who take marketing as specialization. Obviously, we know that very few marketing companies come on campus, so it's always sales. And obviously, we want to do sales. I always feel that it gives you the hardcore realities. You are in touch with all the stakeholders, touch points across channels. I started off with, obviously we didn't have much choice. We apply for all companies, that on campus. So obviously, well, it's not a conscious decision during campus placements, but I got into Crompton. It was hardcore FMCG, FMCD, sales, what people aspire for in MBA grads and all that. It was good experience. Obviously, when we spoke last, I was in Kerala doing hardcore sales, going from retail outlet to outlet, selling I think so B2C, B2B lighting products and pumps and all that. So that has changed a lot since I've moved back to Bombay and media sales. Obviously, the sales part, what I always feel remains the same. Obviously, it asks for a basic set of skill sets, which remains the same. I've seen that. So I've worked across levels now. Fortunately, in I'll talk about say my journey in Jio Hotstar a bit because I moved to Bombay 5 years back. So when I switched from Crompton to Jio, it was actually tough. Actually, for we should talk about this. Actually, one of my alums helped us actually come to Jio. He works in Jio Hotstar actually. Back then, Star Sports. He was in the revenue. So I just reached out to him. Actually, we were chatting something about sports and the something about the IPL or the World Cup, and he said that there's some vacancy. Why don't you come try this out? I thought, yeah, it's not bad actually. Sales I know how sales works. And I was tired of talking about lighting, light products, fans, pumps. I thought, yeah, sports, we've all grown up watching sports, would be a welcome change. So obviously selling, that synergy, what we call about MBA and all that. So that actually would kick in. So I thought it'll be a good, chance to, shift industries. And I always wanted to do media because, I enjoyed watching content, sports. I think so it'd be a good place for me to work, obviously. So that happened. Actually, unfortunately, that was just when we were getting into COVID. So first 2 years were completely work from home, remote. So I, I was based out of Bombay, but actually I was mostly working out of Calcutta because no point taking a house and rent in Bombay when you're not staying in Bombay. I don't, it doesn't work. So, but it was a good experience. So I'll talk about a little about media sector and all. So actually, it's evolved a lot in the last couple of years. I've been there actually in that time, actually that transformation phase, I would say, in media especially. When I joined, it was Star Sports. Actually, Fox had just taken over Star. So it was like Fox Star, 21st Century Fox, and all that. Just a year after Disney, acquired Fox, and we were all part of Disney Star. So 2 years I was. So for first 1 year I was a part of Fox Star, then 2 years Disney Star, and now finally last year Jio has acquired, and it was actually a merger of sorts. So yeah, it's now JioStar. The company name is JioStar. So I handle revenue.
I think no, I think if I think about it now, each and every company is like, bro, I want to buy the company that Shekhar works in. So they were like, अरे जल्दी like पहले Fox आया फिर Disney आया फिर Jio आया like अरे शेखर चाहिए हमको we need Shekhar in that.
Nice.
No, I mean
Actually,
it.
so interesting. Actually, someone was telling me about Geo. We were having this discussion. Actually, we're part of this ecosystem now. Either it's something which is owned by Reliance or will be owned by Reliance, or Reliance has no interest in that. There are three sectors actually. Either उसको खरीदना है तो ले लेगा वो, अगर या तो ले चुका होगा और या तो नहीं है इंटरेस्ट भाई, ये तो नहीं अपने को नहीं चाहिए. So it's like simple.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No, I remember reading about this, about Reliance, that they only enter an industry if they think they can be number one or number two over there.
correct,
Like
correct.
top 2, 3 players. Otherwise, they're not interested, which was one of the reasons many people say that they did not enter the IT industry, right? So they
They
decided
don't
to
have
enter
that
the telecom.
capability.
Exactly.
Correct.
They decided to get into broadband. They decided to get into retail. They decided to get into, of course, telecom, because they knew, okay, there's huge opportunity for us to become top 1, 2, 3 over there.
Correct.
But they were like, we don't want to play for scraps, and I think I respect that from Reliance, right? Like they have that clarity of vision, which
Yeah,
is pretty
which is there.
cool. Yeah. And I'm someone who has, as you said, right, like media and entertainment, and especially sports, has been very close to my heart, right? And someone like
I know.
you, when you work there, I feel honestly a bit of jealousy. That I was like, कि यार ये कितना cool काम कर रहा है. Like he's because I remember you were in Kerala. You used to wake up at 4 a.m. and take like those cabs and trains at 5 a.m. to go to
Right. Correct.
markets and sell in the middle of godforsaken places. Like, just
I couldn't
like
even
that.
understand the language. That is the part, yeah. Malayalam, we don't understand,
Exactly.
and selling to those people, it was a completely different.
Exactly. So I have massive respect for you that there was a language barrier, that there was, that of course geography was completely new. You are someone who grew up in Kolkata. You grew up in Kolkata, then you
Delhi,
yeah.
Kolkata, yeah, but not in
Yeah, exactly.
South.
But not exactly in Kerala. Exactly. Not even South India. Forget Kerala specifically. So you studied in Mumbai, and then you went over there. You're like, bhai, matlab Hindi aata hai, Bengali aata hai at max, if I'm not wrong. English, obviously.
English.
Then and then going out there and selling in Kerala, I was like, okay, what is Shekhar doing? यार क्या कर रहा है वो? मतलब I was like, fantastic, like Crompton Greaves is an amazing company, but the challenge is the challenge, right? See, this is what most people don't understand, right, Shekhar? They think FMCG मतलब मैंने ad बनाया जो TV पे आता है. They don't realize the reality of FMCD and FMCG is essentially you have to go to places that are underserved or unserved completely, right? Like
especially in sales.
undiscovered areas.
Yeah, marketing would be a bit different. Obviously, it's based out of the
But
corporate.
you don't start with marketing. Very few people start with marketing. Even in the premier colleges, they will, by premier, I mean literally they'll go to Ahmedabad and they'll tell you, ja jaake sabun bech in Eastern UP. Ja jaake toothpaste bech in Ladakh or something of that sort, right? Like, and that is how it works. And that is how the FMCG model works across the world. They will send you to places that you're not even, aware of, and then people like you have to do it. So I honestly want to ask you, like, did you know you were getting into this? That this is what was going to happen to you, and once you got in, how did you manage?
No, definitely not. So actually, I said, so when I got into Crompton, it was obviously we want to, get placed in a good company. It's offering a good CTC. It's offering a sales and marketing job. I'm good with it. So good to go. Obviously, yeah, it's that way in college. I don't think so. We have a lot of choice. We can't choose. We apply for all good companies. Fortunately, it was a good company. So the exposure. See, a lot of people don't understand, which I feel is that once you start working for a hardcore FMCG or FMCD company, the kind of exposure that it gives across, you learn a lot in the job. It's like one part is that Porter and all that, studying all that. What's that book we used to study? All that is fine, but once you start working in the field, it's very completely different. Working with cross-functional teams like the strategy teams, marketing teams, branding, promotional teams, and obviously the actual job where you're working with distributors, retailers, getting the job done. Like there are ample difficulties that come during the process because market is very unpredictable. There are so many competitors in the market in every category, at least for these top companies. It's very different, but the kind of skill sets that you pick up during the work, it's very, I think so, will take you in the long run. Whoever, I think so, someone was telling me the other day, like all the CEOs or the revenue heads, they have done a sales stint in their life, because, or even the CBOs or the CEOs in the long run, because the kind of exposure that you get there, it's very different as compared to a corporate marketing or a branding job. That's also obviously necessary, or any strategy role. Obviously later on you handle your team strategy, and that's what where it lies. But obviously starting off, it was very different. It was I think so, the kind of skill set that I picked up, it was phenomenal. Like managing stakeholders, it's very different when you are
Yeah.
complex stakeholders. That's what I think so. When I the interview actually when I had for Star India, actually I was chatting coincidentally yesterday itself, day before yesterday. So that guy who had hired me, so the JB Alum, so he actually, I've never worked with him before, because he he had taken my interview and referred me, but because I got hired into a different team and then mergers happened and he moved out. He came to Geo 2 years back, so now he's actually heading a larger role. So he's sort of a region head. I was just having this chat with him yesterday, before yesterday. He's like, how do you like it from Crompton, and after coming into media, and like, I don't know whether he was just joking. I don't know how it took your accepted you, because actually we wanted people from media and all. I don't know what you did. I still don't remember in the interview. I still vaguely remember I took your interview. So no, but he's I think so. Yeah. So that's what we were discussing. Actually, once you have those particular at least a decent soft skills, stakeholder management आता है, थोड़ा presentable है, can do revenue is something, because if you've handled revenue sales targets for some time, it's a very different ball game. I think so, handling those pressures, but it changes. For example, FMCG is mostly quarterly or monthly targets or weekly targets in some cases, FMCG में. But here it's mostly, for example, I work in sports sales, so it's mostly event based. Like for example, IPL का कुछ targets है, World Cup के हो गए, or a Wimbledon or a PKL. So event based targets, but the kind of pressure that you have to deliver those numbers, it's so there you have a lot of flexibility. Why I wanted to get into sales was that the onus is on you. These are your client sets, or this is the area that you're handling, or a set of categories. Now it's up to you. How do you get these revenues in? So you figure out.
Yeah.
I mean, there to help
Yeah.
you guys, but it's your call to take. To deliver those numbers. So the kind of flexibility, the onus, I think so. It's a good thing to start off your careers. Obviously, in the
I
initial
agree.
couple.
I agree. Because see, I remember these these industry veterans used to come to college, right, for those lectures, guest lectures, and
Guest lectures.
yeah, and we used to just find it so boring कि क्या है दोपहर के 3:30 बजे बुलाया है, and you are just trying not to doze off, and there's a lecture at
Oh God.
5:30.
And we
Yeah,
paid fines also. Ooh.
we have paid fines for dozing and for even blinking your eye and all. So in my case, mostly for chatting unnecessarily, but that's just me. So I remember these, when this FMCG veteran had come and he was like, "He boss, when I started out my career, I was sent in the Philippines to sell detergent, right? Like he's JB Allen, right? And he's like, हमको ये लोग भेजा था Philippines में, and I was there and I convinced one lady who bought like that detergent, and I asked her, hey, is it okay if I see how you wash the clothes? And she was a cool lady and she was like, yeah, whatever, man, like you want to see me wash the clothes, I will, yeah, just look, just don't come in my area.
I think
And
so. I've heard
he
this
watched
story. Who is this guy?
exactly. I don't remember, maybe it was
I
a
have heard
joint
this story.
senior
Someone
junior
has told
thing.
me. I think so. Same guest lecture.
Yeah. I think we were in the same guest lecture, I'm pretty sure. Sometimes they were combined, if you remember. I think the marketing ones were combined.
Marketing,
Yes.
marketing. Yeah, might be something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I remember him saying that he watched it because he wanted to see कि वो झाग कितना आ रहा है. Does it matter उनको कि झाग आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Like, and that is user research. That is really, as Professor Moradian used to say, right?
Alright, yeah.
Go yeah, get off your ass. Like it is like you can't sit in one place and just laptop के सामने बैठ के नहीं होता काम. Like, which is where sales is so important, right? You actually have to go and meet and talk to people. And
Right.
me being in B2B, right, there was always this challenge where marketers were, unfortunately, in many places still are considered, digital makeup artists. They're like, हाँ भाई तुमको बोला ये email बनाओ, इसको थोड़ा pretty कर दो, ये social media post कर दो, GIF बना दो, and people think, wow, that's marketing. That's not. Actual marketing is real marketing is speaking to users, speaking to your product people, talking to your partners, and genuinely understanding and improving your communication. And at this point of time, we in the company I work in, we also do sometimes sales. Can you believe it? Sometimes I also, yes, we have to do it. We do customer
Nice.
support. We sometimes do sales, and and user research is a very core part of what we do. And I think, I mean, it's not business development, but sales in terms of like, hey, conversions, right? Like you actually have to speak to users, you have to solve customer queries, and so on and so forth, and you have to onboard them and all. So that is quite a lot, right? And
Nice.
for
Lovely.
that, you need to know the product, you need to understand the customer, and you need to understand how they interact together. Now, that is the reality of business, which it took us a
Right.
long time, at least me, to actually experience. But people like you, I think you experienced it within 2 years. That yahi hai best tarika,
No,
right?
definitely, definitely. You look like puts you in the middle of chaos. Like you figure your way out. These are the like you have these weapons to deal with. Like these are like ये तीन चार चीजें हैं. Now you figure out your journey from here. Like daily, we'll take stock. Like how is it going? But it's been a really good experience. I would the kind of
But
kickstarted pace.
not the pressure and all, because most people complain that there's so much pressure in
There
sales,
was insane pressure. That's what I'm saying. Insane pressure, especially in FMCG, FMCD. Like it's like because of a weekly target or quarterly targets, and you have to meet those numbers. The kind of pressures,
Yeah.
like you figure your way out. Like the market might be down, weather kharab, कुछ भी हो सकता है. Figure your way out. Some new competitor would have come up. Local brands that might be selling at lower price. All these challenges and all is fine for the last presentation and all. Like how, but what is the? I need the numbers. Presentations will be made. They are saying that all this we'll figure out, but I need the numbers. That was a fine, matlab, complete clear diktat, matlab, sales mein. So
Yeah.
there can be no shortfall. So matlab, there were a lot of funny stories. Month end, we were sitting till 12 at offices. I've called you from there. Hundreds of people making phone calls, trying to punch in those last numbers. Matlab, last 10 lakh, 5 lakh, whatever they are missing their targets by. Just pushing,
Yeah.
calling distributors frantically. Trying to do those last minute sales and everything. That's a different kind of exposure. I was like, I couldn't believe, before coming to Crompton, I couldn't even believe that ऐसा हो सकता है कि people are sitting at 12 p.m. at night and trying to close sales, and people are actually, the entire office is there. मतलब it's a completely different thing. मतलब we can't see that मतलब happening in colleges and मतलब normal life में कभी ऐसा देखा है? मतलब 12 बजे तक बैठे हुए, it might be any day, Friday, Saturday, we are sitting trying to do those numbers. It's a completely different thing. But it's been a really good experience. I've worked in 3-4 different geographies. I think so, Kerala, West Bengal for a couple of months. Indore, I was in Indore for a year. So that was a lovely
Yes.
experience. Lovely, lovely. So I was working, handling the entire Madhya Pradesh state. So a lot of traveling, Bhopal, Jabalpur, Ujjain.
Yeah.
So those 2 years were, filled with a lot of work. Like in the mornings, I know I have to get up and start working. Obviously, I had a good team to support with like mostly friends and all. We were working together. So that kind of a setup. Still young.
Hmm.
I think I've become a bit old now. 5-6 years back, उसकी तब की कहानी है. So I was still young, freshly out of college. But you
Yeah.
want to work hard, do your numbers, partying also at the end after the sales numbers. We've done the numbers, going out to celebrate for 1 or 2 days, just sleeping to recover, get our sleeps, and then again come back to office. Lovely. I think so for bachelors or especially the people who are starting off their careers, definitely a must do. The kind of
Yeah.
exposure that you'll get in sales, unmatched.
Wow. That's really good to know, because most people they dislike sales, by the way, Shekhar. If you
Dislike. Yeah,
they're like, I
consciously
have
we are
friends. Yeah, they just like, अरे sales नहीं कर रहा है यार, वो कर रहा है 4-5 साल से sales कर रहा है, but
नहीं करना,
sales नहीं
मार्केटिंग
कर
करना,
रहा है.
ब्रांडिंग करना है, कुछ और करना है. आई नो विच इज फैंसी, और स्ट्रेटजी करना है. आजकल तो मोस्टली स्ट्रेटजी करना है. और लाइक आई एम
I,
अबव ऑल दिस, आई वांट टू वर्क इन स्ट्रेटजी ओनली.
I know. And you know what? I can understand if college students say that. I can. Because I think it's understandable. It's okay. There is a reason it's called young and naive, right? We were also young and naive. It's not like, oh, when we were young, we were the balls. Like I was stupid. I know for a fact I was stupid. And I've made videos on this कि अरे मेरे को तो कुछ मालूम ही नहीं था बाद में पता चला ऐसा होता है उसमें 25,000 व्यू आया मतलब okay but that's the whole point,
हाँ,
right?
तो
Like
that's what we all with
do
time.
you think your MBA actually helped you in your career till now, like your salesperson, or do you think without MBA also, if I would have done this role, it wouldn't have really mattered?
So what I feel definitely is that it might not help in terms of what I studied. Matlab, I don't remember what I studied. What were the courses at all? At all. Some people would be, but what I really remember is like I think so. It unconsciously we pick a lot of, like, for example, we had a very hectic schedule. For example, in JB, you know how it is, like early morning classes, we get the schedule just a day before. The exam schedules are very cramped, like we have to figure out a lot of things going for, matlab, like guest lectures attend karne hai, padhai bhi karni hai, a lot of things, all together. So our, I think so, our brain becomes a bit tuned to handling pressure in a way, like we have to deliver. वो sincerity आ जाती है in a way which we were talking about, obviously very early in life. I think so 25, 26, when we pick up that kind of, yeah, like it's our responsibility to deliver. मतलब हो गया कुछ भी, we are taking part in multiple competitions. I still remember that is something which was like, वो है guest lectures है which we need to, placements is completely separate, studies is completely separate, when we need to do good in our studies. Obviously there were a few subjects which I really enjoyed, and I look forward to those classes. Conver might be, and a few people, really fun. But yeah, a nutshell, I think so it seasons you in a way, very early on to absorb pressure and become sincere, a lot of stakeholder management, and you get a lot of early exposure. I think so the kind of guest lectures and all that we have, especially in good colleges, like it's very different. Because, and also for JB, I think so, because we don't have we didn't have resident faculties. Mostly people working in the industries, accomplished people, they used to talk between lectures, which I feel like what was happening in their daily jobs, kaisa type ka, the kind of work pressure that they were handling. So that actually start use that kind of an exposure that you get very early on. It's very good. Like obviously people who have done good in their life, you get to know, you hear from them firsthand, like how they are dealing with stress, life, handling, over the life, how they have grown and all. So I think so that exposure helps us to stakeholder management. That is what I was talking about. It helps us to you develop those soft skills subconsciously. Presentable, you become more presentable, all that. So unconsciously, I
No,
might not be
that's a
only
very
just
good
studying
answer.
hard.
Yeah, that's a very good answer because most people are like, "हाँ ये सीखा वो सीखा." I'm like, कि, come on, bro, let's be frank, right?
कुछ याद नहीं होगा.
No, yeah, nobody teaches you what to do when you wake up at 5 a.m. and you have
Correct.
to, get into a meeting at 6 a.m., which has also happened to me, by the way. And or you have to go to, yeah, literally, right? Like you have get a call at 10 p.m. and 11 p.m. there is a meeting and you have 1 hour to submit
Right.
this as a review, and you have to submit the second draft at 7 a.m. or something. And you have to pull an all-nighter. Good for you if you can. If not, you are jacked, right? Like no one teaches you that. But what
Right. Right.
no one can, ideally. But what it can do is people can shape you. Institutions can shape you, and at least JB did that, from what I hear, for even you,
Definitely.
right?
Definitely.
And it also puts you in that position that, oh my god, people around me are so smart, they're so much smarter than me. I need to always be at the top of my game in a lot of ways, right? So I think
That's
it gives you that.
interestingly. I was chatting with someone 10 years older than me. Still, he's JB pass out, 2010 pass out. He's just starting in company. He's handling sports, but he's part of the strategy team. We're just having a chat. Coincidentally, like people, all of us, like last 20 years, whoever, like JB Alum, when we get together, we all talk about Moradian. But none of us actually remember what he taught. मतलब कितनी चीजें याद होंगी. I think so 2-3 चीजें होंगी, just in time or bottlenecks and all that. मतलब fairly bit we would remember, but nothing actually concrete. But we all look forward to that lecture because in a way subconsciously we wanted to become like him. And it was like, oh wow, yeah, this is a very nice personality. I think so I would feel that I've arrived in life if I'm 20 years down the line or 10 years down the line, if I'm able to be that guy. So I think so that is something, these are very little things that we pick up from. We don't call them out very ki हाँ, मतलब, but the kind of exposure, because of the people that we are surrounded with, because people are coming from different backgrounds, I think so. Like finance, okay, marketing, people have different work experience. They're coming together, from different parts of the country. The kind of discussions that we have, not just about studies, about life and everything. The kind of things that you pick up, it's so early on. That is something also, we take forward all this from MBA.
100%. That is so rare. And I remember, this reminds me of, there was this one time when you were not there, but in 2015, that was my first year. Maggie was banned. So Maggie was
Oh,
banned
okay.
because of MSG. If you remember, Maggie was banned in
Yeah.
India, Nestle. And they were banned for like 6 months, 3 months or so. And our professor, our branding professor, like, of course, JK, uh,
Okay.
Professor Jagdish Kapoor,
Okay.
and he comes in and he says, "Ki guys, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. In the next 100 years, this is not going to happen. Maggie is not being sold. I want you to go and do market research. Jaldi se jao, and you have to go to 25 different shops or like 15 different shops and find out what are the alternatives and ask them, is it selling? Is it not selling? What are the alternatives? What are the branded ones, unbranded ones, and what are the people are also doing? Go and do the research." And they were like, the people would still be like, "I'll pay you extra. Give me Maggie. I know you have it in the back." Like, go back. वो गुटखा की तरह खरीद रहे हैं यार मैगी को, कि बोल रहे हैं कि अरे मेरे को पता है नीचे बैठते
Oh,
हो
तेरे
उसके
पास है,
नीचे है
छुपा के
हमारा.
रखा है तूने दे.
Dude, like people had sold Maggie ka ittu sa packet for 300, 500 rupees back then. So I think 2015, 16, 17 was a very crazy tenure. You
Yeah.
had demonetization, you had
Demonetization.
GST, which
Yeah.
was
Oh,
coming along.
crazy.
I mean, it was crazy. All those things that Patanjali was coming up. If you remember, in
It
your
was
first
coming
year
up.
and
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
second year, Patanjali was coming up, and Kolpal was losing
Cool.
market share. It literally lost so much market share because of it. So it
Right.
was a lot of things happened. So I think we learned a lot during an MBA college. And yes, while you may not exactly learn exactly what to do, it shapes you, right? It
Right.
shapes you as a person.
Completely.
So yeah, I mean that's a good one. But work and all is fine. We'll come back to that probably. But what I want to ask you is that you have been in so many different cities, right? Kolkata, Dubai, like I think Delhi also,
Delhi.
Mumbai
Yeah. Delhi.
definitely,
Yeah.
Kochi. If I'm not wrong, I think you were in Kochi
Kochi.
for a
Kochi.
while.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
were in
7 months.
Kochi for a while.
Indore
Which is
for a
which is
year.
your favorite? Yeah, which is your favorite city and why?
See, Bombay and Kolkata for different reasons. Kolkata, obviously, because I'm a Bengali, the kind of,
Yeah,
it's a different place for, obviously, Calcutta is something very different for Bengalis. It's emotion. It's always
yeah,
the kind of food. I've grown up in the city, the kind of, people I've been around, still the same. And something, why Kolkata is different as compared to a lot of different metros, I would still say it's like it doesn't change. Unfortunately, it doesn't change. Like 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line. So I was just having this chat with my India head. So he's a Bengali. So he just come in last year. So I was working very closely with him last year in Star Sports. So he was based out of Singapore before this, and he was part of Philippines, and he was heading. He was part of Group M, so he was heading a lot of countries. So he came on board. So he was handling sports sales for Linear TV last year. So I was working very closely. He's a Bengali, so he moved out very early. He's, typical Bengali guy. But we were just chatting about all that. Having Bengali food. And still, we went to Calcutta. We were just chatting about all this. He was saying, "This is something. Calcutta doesn't change. Oh, it's been 20 years, 30 years. It's the same, and the food is same. The place is same. And when people get together, they still talk about those three, four people. Like it has to be, might be Satyajit Ray. It has to be Rabindranath Tagore. It has to be Saurabh Ganguly. It has to be those four, five people. Those places, those food. Like that is different nostalgia for Bengalis. Obviously, it's home. But yeah, I love Bombay. You know that. So I would not choose any other city in India. Definitely, for sure. But
yes.
the work and make my living and everything is definitely part of Bombay. It's like
That's
it's
good to know. That's good to know because you live in Worli, right? So
early.
I'm sorry I'm doxing you, but yeah, everyone knows I live in Goregaon, so I'm doxing you. So if anyone any suitable anyone finds Shekhar to be a suitable bachelor, I think you should just find him in the streets of Worli somewhere.
Early, definitely. So actually, uh, it was a conscious call to take place in Worli because my office is in Lower Parel and now Prabha Devi, and we based out of, at least we keep traveling in the city because the ad agencies are there mostly in Andheri, Group M, Madison, and all IPG. But yeah, and clients all over the city. But obviously, initially first few hours we have to be in office and figure out a few things. So it's better to be Bombay. Obviously, it was a conscious call just to be close to the office, so that I can reach office in 20, 30, 20, 25 minutes, not more than that. I really dislike, 1 ghante wala travel, subah train and all.
Yeah,
I don't think so. It's not. I'm not saying that it's bad. A lot of people are doing that this
I think it's
procedure.
bad.
But
I think it's bad. I think it's majburi.
I'll not get
I
into
think
that
we have
discussion
made.
because
I know.
I don't.
मैं तो मुंह पे बोलता हूँ. मैं तो मुंह पे बोलता हूँ. Like we have made a virtue out of a necessity. You get what I mean? We have just pretending कि oh this is a good thing. No, it's not.
So
It's
if
a
we are
necessity
having
that
that
we
kind
have
of a
to
candid
travel.
discussion, then I would agree with you.
Exactly.
I was just being
No,
nice.
खोल के
I
बोल.
was just being nice to the Mumbaikars because they take a lot of pride in
No.
traveling to places and train.
Mumbaikar, my wife is waking up tomorrow in like 12 hours, like 14 hours from now, and she's going to go into a train. I am telling you right now, this is just cope. It's called copium. Okay, we are just coping because the reality is so tough for people to acknowledge and understand and accept. They are like, कि नहीं नहीं ये तो अच्छा है तो होना चाहिए. That's bullshit, right? Like, I'll tell you what.
People
Our
glorify this.
train.
I don't know why. I still not understood this. Like
I
when
know
they,
why.
oh, I've traveled 1.5 hours today. Wow. So what should I do? Like, oh wow.
मैंने बोला था मैं क्या करूं मैं डांस करूं तेरे लिए
हाँ
व्हाट डू यू
मतलब
वांट
they might have saved some part of it in rent and all जो वो उड़ा देगा मतलब I'm sure in the weekend definitely but no I've traveled 1.5 hours I'll travel I have to leave early and again travel
I
one and
say
a half
that
hours
I say that because I was that guy because I used to travel 1.5 hours for almost 10 years for college, for work, then college again, then work again. I have done it. And let me tell you, Shekhar, it decays your life. I think that
yeah
is one part of Bombay, and I'm completely in your side on your side when you say that मैं ज़्यादा rent दे के आधा घंटा या 15 मिनट travel करेगा at max. उससे ज़्यादा मेरे को नहीं करना.
I'll
I'll
save
give you that.
somewhere else if people have to I मेरा mindset वो है यार मतलब I'll save somewhere else I
Yeah.
मतलब I'm spending more on rent rather I'll not because my time is really valuable for me I'll do something good in that time might be I might watch a podcast I might go for a small workout I'll be a bit more flexible in my morning routine and figure my things out rather than wasting 1.5 hours and watching the train timetable every day कि अरे I have to catch this train अरे what यार मतलब
Yeah, no, I'll tell you, you know, the reason you feel, and you're completely right, because this is what I would do. But the reality is, there are some other cases also, right? Like my wife will travel like less than 1 hour. And in Bombay, honestly, less than 1 hour is like one way is like great. It's
yeah
achievable.
definitely
And like door to door, my wife reaches like in आराम से आती है, कोई tension नहीं है. So she's sorted. Now, the thing is that the reason I haven't done what you have done is also like, okay, I have a lot of friends in this part of town. So I'm like, yeah, it is easier to actually connect with people. My relatives are also in this part of town, so I'm like, okay, my social life is a bit better compared to in the western suburbs than in
yeah
South Bombay, right?
parents
And I
again
think I think one of the see, I'll tell you another thing, right? Speaking of Mumbai and all that, chaos that everyone goes with, it decays your life. That traveling 3 hours a day decays your life. Anything more than 2 hours of travel, 2.5, it decays your life. It takes a lot from you. And our travel of 1 hour, my cousin lives in London, right? Just he works in London, he lives just outside of London. Similar हिसाब न्यू जर्सी टू न्यूयॉर्क जैसा होता है लंदन के बाहर से लोग रह के
right
लंदन में आते हैं like you would know and the thing is same Navi Mumbai shit right now the thing is this guy says bro I also travel 1 hour 10 minutes one way but my 1 hour is very different from your 1 hour my 1 hour is I'm in the London tube they call it the tube right the underground so वो उनका ट्रेन में आता है आराम से आता है वो बोलते हैं, कोई टेंशन नहीं है यहाँ पे एक आध कोई आवाज करेगा कोई ध्यान नहीं देता उस पे एंड इट इज एयर कंडीशनड इट इज प्रीटी नाइस इट इज सॉर्टेड टाइम पे आता है टाइम पे जाता है मतलब आगे पीछे तो सब टाइमिंग होता ही है बट इट इज नॉट बॉम्बे राइट लाइक कि मार रहा है कोई इधर को ऐसा कर रहा है देन वी आर
खून ही मार
शेयरिंग
रहा है और
yeah
ऐसा
we are sharing reels on Instagram and YouTube ki oh wow dekho this is Mumbai spirit it's not like and honestly until 10 years ago people would call it Mumbai spirit but the younger generation including us like they are like hey that's bullshit you're taking us for a ride the reason we did that is because the country did not have the money to develop now it has the money to develop तो पूरा गड्ढा खोद के रखा है बॉम्बे में हर जगह वाट लगा के रखा है मैं नीचे उतरता हूँ मेरे को लगता है मेरा गेट कहाँ गया वो गड्ढा खा गया होगा कभी गैस पाइपलाइन डाल रहा है कभी इलेक्ट्रिसिटी वायर डाल रहा है कभी किसी को दफना दिया मैं मजाक नहीं कर रहा किसी को कहीं दफना दिया ना मेरे घर के सामने मेरे को पता भी नहीं चलेगा इट्स लाइक एवरी टाइम समवन डिगिंग एंड पुटिंग शिट अप इन फ्रंट ऑफ मी and that's just that joke is it's no longer a joke right it's just our reality
United,
and
I'm sure
I don't know what to do
I know I keep traveling to Bandra my sister stays in
it's
Bandra it's like insane man like मतलब कुछ ना कुछ खुदा हुआ है ही मतलब आज ये खुद रोड खुदा हुआ है, next day I come तो वो भी खोद दिया side वाला. Like where do I come from? Like I have to take a big detour to reach anywhere. It's like insane. I don't know what are they doing.
Dude, this reminds you of that Subway Surfer game कि आप जा रहे हो और आपको कूदना पड़ रहा है, आपको इधर
कूदना पड़ रहा
कूदना पड़ रहा है, कभी नीचे से जाना पड़ रहा है. Like literally the other day they dug in front of our colony का gate and we are like, bro, there is one gate because the other one is under construction. There is some work going on, bro.
है. Where do I get
And
out?
we are jumping. No, we knew where to get down. We're like, how to get in? We had to jump. Like, I'm like, bro, what if someone's pregnant or like if someone's old? Like, what are we doing for them? It's like, नहीं sir, ये 2 घंटे में हो जाएगा. So for 2 hours, pregnant people, old people, disabled
Don't
people can go fuck themselves. Basically, like yeah, ये होता है.
insane,
अरे
yeah,
कुछ
insane.
तो सोच के करो. So I and here's the thing, right, Shekhar, this is a city which I think is overburdened, and you and I are perfect examples of it. You and I should have had the opportunity to work in Navi Mumbai and Kolkata. Think about it, right? Navi Mumbai, like in a way, is great as a retirement colony, but there are no real jobs over there. And it is
Same for
coming up,
Calcutta.
though. It is coming
And same
now
for
because
Calcutta.
of the airport. Because of the airport, it is coming up. And Kolkata, as you said, it's stagnated. It has
Yeah, yeah.
stagnated. Kolkata at one point of time was India's most powerful city. It was a capital during the British
British
times,
time. Yeah.
and I remember, like I read it somewhere, Singapore ka Lee Kuan Yew. Singapore was basically a wasteland. Right? There was nothing over there. It was one of the most
Right.
backward places on earth. And this Lee Kuan Yew, the leadership of Singapore, they were like, you know what? We want to model ourselves, to other cities. Let me see what other cities look like. And he said that in the next few years, if we become like Kolkata, it would be an achievement for us. They looked up to Kolkata. That's how amazing
Just
Kolkata
imagine.
was in the
Just imagine.
1960s.
What it has
Wasn't
become.
it considered like one of the best cities in the world back then? And
Yeah.
then somewhere it has stagnated. And that's what I would say. Mumbai had also stagnated, mind you, for a good 10, 20 years. And now, luckily, it is like,
So yeah,
thoda
things are moving in Bombay. A lot of construction. I think so
धक्का
because of
मार मार के वो
IT
जाएगा.
sector.
Like the other day, I was traveling. I was coming to Worli on my birthday, right? I told you. So I basically was crossing the sea link, and I looked at the skyline of Worli at
Skyline
night.
looks
Bro, it
beautiful.
looks so beautiful. Yeah, it reminded me of like those Shanghai का skyline का photos and
It's really
videos जो
amazing.
हम देखते हैं,
That's
right?
the part. Yeah,
I'm
actually really
like,
amazing.
क्या बना रहे हैं यार? But yeah, it is also true that we will probably never be able to afford it unless we do a successful business, right? Like that
Yeah,
part of the
definitely,
city
definitely.
is like rent कर लो, but ये खरीदने में तुमको तुम्हारा मतलब तेरा घर जाएगा इसमें, as you know, rapper
Yeah,
says.
definitely,
But
definitely.
that's
It's a
my
thing.
that's my point. So it's a beautiful part of town. I think they're really improving it. Because Worli also has some certain parts which where I'm like, "Ki, boss, what is
Yeah,
this? Why is
definitely,
this building
definitely, definitely.
150 years old?" And
But I think so.
I
Yeah, things are improving. A lot of new constructions are coming up over the city. I would say it's because of the Atal Setu, Coastal Road. So things are improving. I would say last couple of years. But let's see. I think so.
you're
We
okay
still
with
have
the coastal road? I know people who live in Worli who hate the coastal road. They're like, हमारा
no,
view
no.
खा गए, खराब कर
A
दिया
view
अभी.
खा गया, but it's good. I think so because people who have to travel to the southern part, Nariman Point, Marine Drive, it just takes 15 minutes. That day I was traveling to, I had some work in Nariman Point, so it just took me 15 minutes from my place. 15 minutes is lovely from Worli to Nariman Point. So I was
Wow.
at Nariman Point, but अपना Trident just beside that.
Trident. Yeah,
So because things have improved, I would say. Obviously, we don't look at it
that's
that way.
crazy. Yeah. That's actually crazy, dude. So, like, where do you party in Bombay? Like, you party in like Bandra, you party in Worli, South Bombay, like, which is your Kolaba and all. Where do you party?
Partying and all has actually reduced a lot in the last couple of years, I would say. But
Pace
yeah,
has
mostly
increased. Parties have
parties have
reduced.
reduced. It's not the good old college days when every weekend had to be a party. It's not that.
Yeah,
I think so.
yeah,
People have also actually our generation has actually thoda abhi mature ho gaye. That's what we would like to believe. कि अभी we find peace at watching content at home and relaxing a bit. Thoda might be a
yeah,
movie or a good restaurant or a good trying out a new place. Something all that is
yeah.
good. Partying and all I would say, but still yeah, Bombay and obviously with office colleagues and some old friends. Obviously you guys, I'm in the middle, mostly in Bandra or South Bombay. It's good. I have
Yeah.
come Naval a couple of places, then Lower Parel, some new places have come up. It's good, obviously. Bandra, obviously,
Which
it's
reminds
very
me.
good by because
Yeah.
of the skiing. I just need 10 minutes to reach Bandra, but that's a different story. When you have to cross Bandra, then it might take an hour to cross that.
Once you reach Bandra, then you have to
I
travel
might
in
reach
Bandra. So
Bandra,
that is
but
different.
उसके बाद there's another, मतलब वो तो कुछ और ही struggle
Yeah.
है, but yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
Honestly,
once you reach Bandra, Hill Road is half an hour. Linking Road is 45
that's a
minutes.
different story. That's what I was saying. That's completely. So, but yeah, a lot of new places have come up in Bandra, so I mostly try those
Yeah.
places, new places to eat and all.
Which
Batting has
many of them we have discovered together, which I'm very
yes.
happy to note. I mean, I love hanging out, so I love Bandra. I studied there, I worked there. So Bandra is very close to my heart. So I know that place pretty well. So it's nice. And the only challenge is आजकल थोड़ा कम हो गया actually distance, मतलब time. पहले it was really bad, but they have completely messed up BKC, by the way. Once you enter BKC,
It's so
it
what?
is
It's
a
insane,
1 hour
insane,
affair to just get the shit
insane.
out of it.
Like the traffic
In
there is something else.
evenings
What we
में
say.
you get stuck. It's
Fuck.
horrible. I mean, तू चल के निकल के आ जाएगा घर से, bro. तू चल के आ जा तू, but तू
Correct.
BKC is horrible.
Yeah, I had a couple of meetings, so 4, 5, it's insane. मतलब खत्म है. But I knew, मतलब ये आज मैं it's going to be 8 or 9 to reach home. I'll take 2, 3 hours to come out of that place.
Yeah, and also the thing with BKC is कि नीचे उतर के कुछ सस्ता भी नहीं है खाने पीने को यार. Like it is like you have to go to fucking Pizza Express and spend $1,000 for it. Like bro, मतलब क्या कर रहे हो? So like यार बजट की तो वाट लग गई यहाँ पे, डील तो क्रैक नहीं हो रहा है. Like क्या कर रहे हो तुम लोग?
No,
I
yeah,
know what you mean.
yeah.
So speaking of which, you have been to so many cities. Tell me, how was your experience in Dubai? You were there for a while, right?
Yeah, it was good actually. I really like that place. Somehow, I think so. It's the perfect combination because it's very close to what Indians would feel like. It's like every other guy is an Asian guy, mostly Indian, Pakistani, Bangladeshi, or Asian guy. So people are talking in Hindi all the time, so you can hear it, like shop owners, restaurants, and all. While you have that, you also have that perfect infrastructure there, like growth opportunities. It's at the crossroads of the global. Obviously Europe is one flight away, US is still nearby, and everything. I think so. It's very well connected, and actually, you feel like you're part of some. Like you need to work hard. People are always running to make more money. That's the part I like actually about Bombay as well. Once I moved to Bombay first time, so because people are working really hard to make a name for themselves. They are if you want to do something good, there are a lot of opportunities. Similarly, I think so for Dubai at another scale, obviously, because it's a global platform. A lot of companies, different sectors, trading, especially because of the family thing. I know a lot because I used to travel to a couple of meetings and also a couple of friends. And even media, I would say, media was completely banned a few years ago in Dubai. But since it's been allowed and we have a lot of OTT platforms that have offices there, they are trying to make their own content, if you see. So it's evolving a lot, I think so it's a good place to be. I always feel like it's still nearer to home, nearer to India, 2 hours, 2.5 hours away from Bombay. You can come back whenever you want to. I'm feeling homesick, I want to come back to Bombay, have a vada pav. You can take a flight home, have a vada pav or something like that, come back to Bombay, get all that and again go back. So it's not that far away like Europe and US. Obviously, you have to plan in advance, huge time investments, and it's a completely different life, Western life. I think so. It's that crossroads. I always feel that you have that feeling also, and also opportunity to grow.
Yeah,
So
the best of both worlds. So my question then becomes: have you never thought of, like, because so many people in India, they keep complaining, including me once in a while, ki fuck, this sucks, this is so difficult, ye wo, India छोड़ के जाना है, बाहर settle होना है, right? And so my question to you is, did that never cross your mind? Because you even had a proof of concept, right? Like you actually went out, as you said, you have experienced
so I
it.
think so.
Did it never cross your mind?
Not at the moment. It hasn't till now. But if something interesting comes up in future, I'm open to explore.
Interesting. HR वाला आंसर दे रहा है यार तू. ऐसा HR, let me get back to you on that one. Like, अबे जा. That was such an HR answer, bro. Like you don't want your employer to know कि अरे ये तो बाहर जाना चाहता है.
If something exciting or
No.
challenging comes up, so I'm open to all.
Yeah, that's a not wink wink wala. Yeah, that's an answer. We get you, Shekhar. But yeah, you mentioned content and all, right? So what are you watching? Because I know, okay, I don't know if anyone knows this. Of course, you won't. But Shekhar consumes a voracious amount of content. Like I think I used to think I watch a lot of things, but Shekhar is like, kuch bhi bolo, he watches it. Like faltu movie bhi jana hai usko, he'll go there. You know, any series that has come up, like a good series, bad series, great series, he's watched all
Definitely.
of them across platforms. That's insane. Tell me more about that, Shekhar, and tell me what are you watching right now?
I think so. I'm watching mostly. Like a couple of shows on Apple TV. I think so because I'm using that. There's one show, The Studio. I really liked it. I think so. We just had the last episode. Seth Rogen. It's a very interesting show. There was one show with John Hamm, Friends, Neighbors, and all. It was a very quirky, you know, sort of a English setup. So there's a lot of content actually. I just keep watching. I think so. Content because you brought that up. Over the years, I don't manage to watch a lot of content these days, and not like in the tune of like what I used to watch. I think so. It's evolved in a way like it's a like, huge barrage of content across platforms now. Like every weekend, there's a new content on Netflix, Amazon, Geo Hotstar, Apple TV, YouTube. I'm sure there's so much we can't watch everything, and you need to filter down. Actually, you don't want to take in so much. But obviously the kind of content that I've grown up watching, it's over the years, like for example for us it was traditional movie making. I started watching with Hollywood, where obviously Clint Eastwood or Martin Scorsese, obviously Nolan, or all those the uh, uh, you've seen that obviously, might be a Godfather or a Yes Sir. We've started watching all that when I started actually really enjoying content. Like obviously this is something, it's a very different thing when you feel a part of someone else's world. Merely a content or a movie has always been that. Like for example, to disconnect with the your reality, you for some time you disconnect and you're part of someone else's world. And if you're able to I think so for a producer or a director or anyone who's making that content, if you're able to transport a person from his current reality into your world, you've done that very successfully. It might be however there might be a comedy setup, kuch bhi ho sakta hai setup, like might be a detective mystery or thriller or whatever. If you're completely engrossed and you feel that you're a protagonist, you are one of the protagonists. I always feel if you can step into the shoes of the protagonist, you have I think so the movie makers have done their job very good. So a lot of good content keeps coming, but yeah, I think so nowadays you need to filter more, rather not just watch everything. So that understanding has to come, I think so, but it's been good. What are you watching nowadays?
Yeah,
So
so I have a question. So I'll answer your question. So I
uh,
was watching American Manhunt, OJ Simpson on
uh,
Netflix. I think it's fantastic.
it's
It
really good.
shows it's so good. I think it has 3 to 4 episodes, four
uh,
episodes actually. Superb, superb. It basically showed very few people in India actually know about the OJ Simpson
OJ
case.
Simpson case,
And
yes.
it is a cultural flashpoint in America, and it shows. And there are a lot of lessons you can learn even as an Indian in that, right?
Right.
Like how so you justice can be denied just by manipulating the system.
The
So
system,
apne aap
right.
it is very, see, in the US it is very subtle, right? In India it is like, ha, we killed the witness, like मतलब वो forensic में वो
Forensic,
ये करा दिया, stop करा दिया. वहाँ पे they have to play it very
right.
very subtly, and they showed how they turned it into not a case of a crime but a case of race, and
Right.
how
Right.
they did it, how the jury system is over there. So I think I really loved it. There is even, if I'm not wrong, long back there was this, like 4 5 years ago, there was even this TV adaptation where OJ Simpson was played by Cuba
Right.
Gooding Jr. So
Right. Right.
and that was so much fun, and that is when I actually understood what exactly happened in the OJ Simpson trial.
Right.
And this one is more of a documentary, and that
Right.
one was
Mostly they're trying to cover,
like a
right.
dramatic adaptation, right?
Right.
So both are good. Take out the time and watch it. I liked it. My wife was watching, I think, American Manhunt, Osama bin Laden. I think that one is also
That was interesting. Actually, I watched it last
on
weekend. It was
Netflix. I
very
think how
interesting.
they got
Like,
Osama bin Laden. Yeah,
yeah. So the build-up
yeah,
was really nice. How over the few episodes, and finally when they got him, so it was good actually.
yeah.
Few of the
It was
documentaries,
actually.
it's good.
I still feel it didn't involve a lot of information because they omitted a few things here and there, because
I'm sure
I
because
know
of that.
actually know because I've read a lot about it,
Mm.
and I knew everything, but it is just okay, how are they telling the same story again wala hisab ho raha tha. And I'm looking at my wife that she's now going to see, oh, this twist happened, that twist happened, and she's like, oh, and I was like, oh, like I have to pretend that I didn't know this happened, like I've read about it 10 times.
I'm
So
sure.
but it's nice. I think that's a good one. We are watching Dexter as a series right now.
Mm.
So because I always heard of Dexter, but I was like, "Ha, kaun dekhega?" So we are on season 3 of Dexter, and because we have finished like The Office, we have finished
I'm
Friends,
sure
we
these
have
are
finished like uh, There's a very underrated one where they completely destroyed the ending for some reason. It's called Kim's Convenience. Kim's Convenience is on Netflix. It was so
Okay.
good. It
I'm
is
sure
really
the
nice. It's a 3 seasons, just three
okay.
seasons. It's about the South Korean family of shopkeepers in Canada, and I was like,
Hmm.
wow, it's so sweet that story is. It's really nice. But in general, the biggest show I'm watching right now is The Last of Us.
I have heard very good
Season
things.
2
I think so. This
is
is I
fantastic. But yeah, in season 2 they have kind of veered away from the original content. Bella Ramsey has not been able to act as much without what's his name, Pedro Pascal
Pedro
in the
Pascal.
scene.
Hmm.
He's just one of the best actors of our generation,
I
I
think so.
would say.
He's getting his due finally. I would say Pedro Pascal with a lot of good content. We are creating that. He's part of Fantastic Four and he's part of a lot of good projects coming up. So
Yeah.
I think so. He's one of the very good actors. He was there in Gladiator too. Perfect. I think so. I couldn't see like anyone else, doing that. More, more justice to that role, like how he did. He's a very good actor. Who's your favorite actor? Now, of your like two, three more favorite Hollywood actors, I would say.
Hollywood. Wow.
I think
Oh my
might
god.
be TV shows, might be movies.
Okay. That way, Kristen Bale is one
Christian
of my
Bale,
favorite actors. Kristen Bale, because
all
he's
time
so
favorite. So versatile, so
wow.
good, lovely.
So versatile. I don't think there is anyone as versatile as him. I think Johnny Depp is also as
Johnny
versatile,
Depp
yes,
is a
but
very good actor.
when it comes to real acting, Christian Bale as an actor is
He's in
sensational.
my top three as well, definitely. One of the best all
Easily
time. Insane, insane.
all time, all time. And he's never one guy who's like, मैं एक ही role करेगा, एक ही type का role करेगा. He always experiments, and I really respect him for that.
No, definitely.
So another one, which obviously I would say is, I'd say Leonardo DiCaprio, because I love
Very
the
good actor.
fact that he experiments and he does different things. And every time he picks a movie, I see the thought process behind it, right? And his performance, and it's Leonardo. He's such a huge star. Like, he's the biggest star in the world,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, definitely.
In Hollywood, at least, if you think about it, he
He's the
is.
biggest star.
There's
Yeah, yeah.
no one bigger than
I still
him,
remember
right?
Christian Bale told this in an interview. Like, of all the scripts that come to us, have been rejected by Leo. If it's a good, script, has to
Oh
be.
wow,
Yeah, so, see, these people have such high regard for him. In terms of the performance, is impeccable. Like the kind of work that he's done in the last couple of years.
yeah, yeah.
But
I
yeah,
mean,
I think
I
for a
I
lot of good people, that's what separates Hollywood. I would say Western filmmaking as compared to an Indian. I would say like the kind of work that they have done. The studios are really big there. That's what I think. So I always tell people, like, because the studios are such evolved, like Paramount or a Disney or a Fox or all of them, like have couple of like years of experience where they sit with producers, story script makers. They try to figure out what could be the kind of work that they want to create. Here it's mostly you can't imagine in Hollywood like a Shah Rukh Khan going to someone, मेरे को ये movie बनानी है, पैसे मैं डाल देगा, तू ये script बना ले, and director comes and direct whatever. I think Shah Rukh Khan or Salman Khan. That's not how Hollywood works. You can be the biggest of the stars. Like there was like I think so Cillian Murphy or these people,
Robert Downey,
Robert Downey. These people are sitting with Nolan and they are like we are all his like people at his disposal.
disciples.
हाँ, disciples. We are just sitting यार वो जैसे बताएगा वैसे होगा सब कुछ. So it is very different. You have to understand. You have to give more power to the directors, the script writers, the all those people, the studios. Like they have to create that ecosystem. Bollywood still, I think, so has a long way to go. The kind of work they are doing, it's
A
like I don't know.
reflection of our society. I think that's a beautiful point you made. But what I'll say is, it is a reflection of our society. In India, I have mentioned this before. We watch movies to escape our reality.
Right.
In the West, they watch movies to see a reflection of their reality or their imagination, right? They don't want to escape their reality. I'm not
Right.
saying not always, but once in a while. So that is
Right.
why our stories are fantastical. It's suspension of disbelief is the
Right.
first thing. Like ये सब English है. What does Akshay Kumar say? दिमाग घर पे छोड़ के आओ. मतलब इतना wallet भी घर पे छोड़ के आ जाऊंगा फिर. मतलब क्यों आऊं मैं? Like, what the fuck?
The kind of movie
What
that
is
he's
wrong?
making nowadays. I see. That's
No,
what I'm
but
saying.
he's a very smart man. He's a very smart man,
He's
and
making money
he's
for
he's
himself.
a
He's smart. That's
businessman.
why
Yeah,
he's doing good for
yeah,
himself. I'm not saying. But
yeah. So
actually, I
my
think
point,
the old stars, what I would say is like these people have a lot of responsibility because they have already made a lot of money. I think so. They don't have to worry about that. So now they should
yeah,
actually think about taking the Indian film industry, or the content business to another scale. Try to make a body where we churn out good content rather than just stereotype that works well,
Yeah.
Bollywood drama and all that. So audience is becoming a bit
Because
evolved.
our
So
audience, no, it is not. See, this is where I'll disagree with you. Now,
uh,
finally, we are disagreeing on something. I'm
okay,
happy about it.
uh,
See, audiences are evolving 100%, but
are
when you say
evolving, yeah.
audiences, it means you and me. You and me are evolving because हम जब Netflix on करते, you and me are watching a French movie. We're watching a South Korean series. We are watching a Spanish series. What was La Casa de Papel was Spanish. Okay,
Right,
so,
right.
what is that? वो South Korea का कौन सा है वो mask वाला that last क्या होता है
Squid Game,
वो Squid Game, हाँ, that Squid Game is Korean. You have
Korean.
वो Tokyo वाला कौन सा है वो the Tokyo incident. Um, it's a crazy one. It's very similar. Battle Royale के ऊपर based है वो. That is another one which is Japanese in nature, right? And then you have like there is a Fast and Furious वाला similar adaptation in France. American
Right,
तो हम पूरा time
right,
देखते ही रहते हैं. And then you come and tell me Houseful 5 देखो, I'll be like पागल है क्या?
right.
मतलब what's wrong with you? So here's
So
the
you're saying
thing,
at
right?
large
You
the
and I,
audiences, okay, are getting
only say 50 million people in this country are
correct.
probably evolving. The rest of 1.45 billion people are like, bro, मेरे को आज भी वही चाहिए जो मतलब. Why does Animal become such a good and hit movie, Shekhar? Why does Brahmastra become such a good and incredible movie? It's also, by the way, these 50 million people also watch this, by the way. These 30,
Right.
50 million people also watch Animal, because I have people who are my friends who who I won't name, who I keep shaming in private groups. "Hey, you like Animal as a movie. Are to kya, this and that." I have friends who go to Getty Galaxy, and if anyone knows what's Getty Galaxy, it's like a single screen cinema. Matlab, it is like you get very humble beginnings, humble background wala people,
Right.
to go over there with coin फेंकते हैं वहां पे भाई का movie जब release होता है. And these are people who in the next 5 years are going to become vice presidents and chief marketing officers, okay, in BKC. Okay, in 5 to 7 years. I know them because they're my friends. And so you see, India mein hai, there is a lot of demand for, and nowadays they're calling it chapri content, right? Firstly, I don't know how many people know this, but chapri is a casteist slur. But so I will, yeah, if you want to go
If
technical
you
with
want
it,
to
but
know,
let's
but
not.
otherwise it's fine.
As I was saying, right, you have this huge mass of population, right, which is still there, which may not have a high purchasing power. Many would call it in a technical term the bottom of the pyramid, which is what
Right,
Bollywood is going for.
right,
So,
right,
and also they don't want to fall foul of making, like, imagine like you make high art movie in India, like, wow, amazing thought provoking movie. People are like, bro, मेरा thought रोज provoke हो रहा है, मेरा गटर में पैर जा रहा है इधर, मेरा लाइफ नहीं चल रहा है सीधा, मेरे को नहीं provoke होने का
the
लाइफ में.
reflection of society, you're saying, right? Correct.
Yeah, and
Inclusive.
you can't make movies with layers. You can't make movies with layers. So that is something in India, at least, I think it is very difficult to do. And if at all you do, like you see, धीरे the subject matter is पहले भी cities था ही नहीं subject matter. Even in cities, if you see, our subject matter is some chawl, some झोपड़पट्टी, something
Right.
related to crime, something related to crime. Correct? Like, when was the last time you saw a movie where there is something happening in Bandra Kurla complex? Like tell me a movie which had a corporate drama in it, other than the movie Corporate, the last one which was made like 20
Right. I
years
don't think
ago.
so.
Right? No,
Right.
you will always see the subject matter related to something which is related to crime, something which is related to, some ambition or something of someone who's not well to do. Because we have to ensure, as a movie maker in India, that the movies and the content that is created majorly for something which, encapsulates the largest audience. Correct.
Right.
So that is why they have to do it. And you can't, like, I'm pretty sure Ranbir Kapoor is a very intelligent man, right? So the kind of content he makes is not what he believes in. So he believes in the vision of the director and all of that, but the biggest vision is that of the producer. कि भाई
Right.
मैंने डाले हैं 100 crore, मुझे चाहिए 500, right? So
Right.
you know what I mean. So that is what we are. That is why I feel for another 10, 15 years, our content in Bollywood is not going to evolve, right?
Yeah, definitely.
That is my belief.
That's why I'm saying it.
They have kind of lost us. They have kind of lost us, the 30, 50 million people, where they're like, we are not going to be able to serve them. There is no mathematical sense to serve them. they are anyway OTT. So you see so many, like Amir Khan is constantly complaining OTT, OTT, OTT. So they are not able to compete. They cannot
Right.
create content for us. Okay, which we already see outside. तू
Right.
बता तू मेरे लिए क्या कौन सा मूवी बना पाएगा which I personally feel wow what a even your TVF and all which tried to create content
Right.
for
Right.
urban middle class and all, they permanent roommates के बाद they have stopped, they have gone back to कि कितना 2 करोड़ लोग यूपीएससी एग्जाम देता ना, हम उनके लिए बनाएंगे, उसमें किसी गरीब बंदे को फीस का
Correct.
पैसा नहीं है इसीलिए वो एग्जाम नहीं दे पा रहा है, वो करके वो उसका स्टोरी
They
लाइन
made
डाल
a couple of good content, I think so. Was one
exactly.
startup on
What was
that
the
was
other one? They what is Panchayat? The movie, the
Panchayat is
series was
similar.
called
Panchayat.
Panchayat is again village.
Village.
Panchayat is a village. The entire whole thing is about villages. I have no problem with it. Panchayat is a beautiful series. My wife and I
Yes.
have literally
Lovely.
cried like mota tears watching it because it's such a beautiful series, right? So that's again my question is, anyone who tries to make anything for our urban audiences whose tastes are evolving. I mean,
Very difficult.
I,
Correct. Correct.
not really. So I want you to disagree with me because you will be like even Netflix तो उनके पास भी है, Jio Hotstar वगैरह,
नहीं
the
है,
other
that's why they won't be able
नहीं है
to watch
actually.
that. Actually, नहीं है,
Exactly.
they won't be able to afford that. Actually, that is the when we go to advertisers. Interestingly, this is the same spiel we take to them as well. And while we understand why you wanted to take a connected TV like Jio Hotstar pe we are watching matches on connected TV like sports or a content. While there is still a huge audience in India that is still watching linear TV. स्टार स्पोर्ट्स पे मतलब स्पोर्ट्स देख रहा है, स्टार प्लस पे नॉर्मल कंटेंट देख रहा है, स्टिल दे डोंट अंडरस्टैंड कि they barely have internet connection. Obviously cell phones hai, the semi urban rural areas, abhi semi urban mein slowly the internet is coming, still they have smartphones but they don't have that kind of data packs to obviously to watch content at a constant pace. So obviously India is matlab Bharat, what we call India, obviously the metro India what we talk about is completely different as compared to the you know Bharat. It's completely different actually. Which I agree with you actually. When we take to, because that's why linear TV is still so huge in India. I mean, I don't think so. People watch that in US or Europe. People have stopped watching linear TV, satellite televisions, and all that. We are still watching. Matlab, still like IPL. We are just finishing IPL. We have like 550 odd million people have watched IPL on Star Sports. 550 million, 55 crore people have watched.
Like unique viewers.
Unique viewers
Wow,
on TV, Star
wow,
Sports. Huge numbers. That's what I'm saying.
wow. किसी भी ब्रांड को अगर जाना है उसमें, so wow.
Huge numbers.
Is that the biggest spectacle in India, the IPL?
Yeah,
Is there
definitely,
anything
definitely.
that comes close?
And that is the biggest event across platforms, whatever. I think so. Nothing beats the IPL because over the course of 2 months, I think so. Linear TV we do around 550 million, which we are talking about, and like we have around 200 odd million, 200 to 50 odd million on CTV connected TVs that we watch. Might be through Fire Stick or smart TVs, and then 350 to 400 million, or maybe crossing that on handhelds. Like people are watching that
Yeah,
on their mobile phones as well. So this
yeah.
like still Indian population is still like handle pe kaun dekh raha hai? The people who are traveling, auto drivers, security guards,
Yeah.
you would see that
Yes.
they're watching the content all the time. So there are there's
Yes.
a huge population because the internet has now become a bit cheaper, the infrastructure has improved, so people are watching that. So that is still a huge population chunk. CTV is still a premium household because you need to have that broadband, you need to have a CTV connect, obviously that infrastructure has to be in place and obviously a lot of things. Jio Hotstar या फिर Netflix या फिर किसी और चीज का connection होना चाहिए, otherwise it doesn't make sense for you. So obviously all
Yeah.
that, it's a bit of a premium household obviously. So we have still a mix of audiences, which I completely agree. When we are serving that, obviously the larger chunk of audiences still that linear TV stands true for India at least. बाकी सब जगह obviously the media mix is completely different. I agree.
Yeah. A lot of people, I remember making a video about the death of Bollywood and how Bollywood is failing, and I put out a
Okay.
poll also about it. And many people have said that, boss, Bollywood it's one of the worst eras of Bollywood right now. Do you agree
I
with
agree.
them? Why?
At least I think so. These people, at least they were true in a way a few years back. Like the stalwarts of Bollywood, I would still say. Like I could watch a Shah Rukh Khan's movie or a Akshay Kumar's movie or Amir Khan's movie. I cannot watch their content today. In simple layman's term, I cannot watch their content today. Even these guys. Matlab, it's very different. I don't know what they have lost. At least they were good at a few things. Shah Rukh Khan was good at a few things, I think so. Emotions, and you doing that family drama and sort of thing. Salman had it, so has his own, whatever. Amir used to, do some character movies, used to, do that, at least he used to take 1 or 2 years to think, develop that character. Uspe kafi he used to do a lot of research and figure out. Akshay, you had his own niche, I think so. These are the main guys. Ritik, you had, although he was doing all that craze or a bang bang or whatever, that kind of action, or macho, that image that he had put out. But I think the kind of movies that these guys are creating that these days, I don't know, even they, because of, I think so, initially last couple of years South movies were doing really well, so they thought that they can experiment with that kind of content making. So OTT का कुछ flavor लाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, थोड़ा international audiences. So they've created a lot of khichdi, I think so. They don't know, they've lost their Indian audiences, like us, I would say. I don't know, a Pathan or these movies might do well, but I don't think so. I think their era is over, I think so. I don't know. We need to reinvent ourselves, definitely, in Bollywood. I think so. The kind of content that we are churning out on OTTs, maybe on OTTs or on like theatrical distribution, it's not worth watch. Definitely for us, and especially after the OTTs have come in, post COVID, because we have shifted. I think so. COVID brought a huge change in our lives, especially the kind of people were at home. They started watching a lot of content, because then they people started subscribing to OTT, and obviously once they got an a flavor of that international content, the kind of movies that they could consume and understand, that's fair. So obviously they started feeling a huge disconnect with the kind of content that Bollywood was making, I would say. Still, in pockets we are doing a few good work here and there. Obviously एक दो movies अच्छी निकल जाती है, कुछ अच्छा series आ जाता है, but overall I don't think so that infrastructure is in place, definitely.
Yeah, and I personally feel this is negatively impacting theaters. OTTs are fine.
Definitely.
See, I'll tell you what. I am someone, I made a video on this also. Like, it's basically about like how OTTs are destroying theaters, not because OTTs, because see, what happens is if a movie is releasing, right, I ask myself, is it worth going to the theater and watching? Because theaters at one point of time used to cost 500 rupees an outing.
Right.
आज अगर मैं जा रहा हूँ पर पर्सन, वो हो जाता था. आज मैं 500 रुपए लेके जाऊंगा ना, वो मेरे को झाड़ू लेके मारेंगे वहां पे, कल भिखारी निकल.
Right.
Correct. So, I mean, we have to think like a little bit कि see, privilege है thankfully कि सोचना नहीं पड़ता honestly.
Right.
But because of the way we were raised, I still think, do I need to? Do I really need to go to the
Will I
theater?
really enjoy? Need to is a different thing. Will I
Yeah.
enjoy? I won't
Value
enjoy.
आएगा क्या? Yeah.
I wouldn't enjoy. Let's stop going. For example, haven't gone for a lot of good movies that have come up. There was a time I used to go for every movie, Bollywood हो, Hollywood हो, जो भी release हो रहा था वो Friday. I used to go for that. That weekend was those Friday, Saturday, and Sundays were booked for the new releases. I had to go to the theaters because I really enjoy that movie experience. See, I am one person. I really believe that the experience that you get in a theater, if you have made a good content, is something else. It's because it's a set of people, they are watching and you consumed in that content. It's very different as compared to ghar pe, because you are still in your home environment where you are have a familiar thing, and completely but disconnect. Okay, when you are sitting in front of a large screen, it's a completely different experience. But you have to create such movies, I think so. Like Hollywood was also losing actually a lot of audiences to OTTs post COVID.
Yes.
But I think so a lot of movies changed that for them. For example, a Top Gun Maverick, I think so when Top Gun Maverick released, it made $1 billion. So like Tom Cruise was thanked by multiple people to actually save that entire ecosystem, that distribution circuit and the exhibitors, because actually you need to create that experience wherein I watched Top Gun Maverick 3 times in the theaters. That's what I'm saying. The first time I went, oh wow, I was blown away. I was like, dude, I need to come again. IMAX. This is a different experience. IMAX, laser or do teen experiences. I need to figure out, because the kind of experience it gave, obviously in the large screen, the sound, the visual experience, it was completely different. So that you have to start creating again such content. For example, Nolan's movies. You can't enjoy an Oppenheimer sitting at home. OTT कितना भी मेरे पास broadband हो, internet हो, I can have the biggest screen, but Oppenheimer is meant for the large screens. That's what I'm saying. That those visual effects, the special effects, the sound, everything, that's completely different. So you have to create such content where people would want to go to the theater. That's what I feel. It's not like मेरे लिए अभी, it's like if I don't enjoy that content, I will not come back. मतलब I feel that मेरे को ट्रेलर देख के मजा नहीं आ रहा है, इधर मैं वहां जाके 2.5 घंटा यार, and that's not meant for me. That's what I'm saying.
Beautiful point, Shekhar. Beautiful points actually, because I agree. Like they should make it worthwhile for us to come to the theater. Like and I'll tell you the last 3 movies I've watched in the theater: Deadpool, Interstellar, a movie that was released
I
11
have
years
also
ago.
gone for Interstellar. That's what I'm saying. We go for the
Exactly, and
experience.
then just recently Top Gun. नहीं अपना Top Gun नहीं अपना होगा Mission
Mission
Impossible
Impossible.
Fallout.
Mission Impossible
Yeah,
Fallout.
Fallout नहीं क्या है वो Final Reckoning. Sorry.
Final.
So
हाँ.
if you see all these movies, उसके पहले John Wick देखा था मैं. In the last Hindi movie I watched in the theater was Sam Bahadur, and I regretted it.
Oh God,
You
that's
know,
long time back.
I
That's like 2
instantly
years back.
regretted it. Exactly, that was like 2 years ago. I do not watch Hindi movies anymore in the theater because I'm like, bro, तू क्या दे रहा है मुझको कि like I mean I do actually one thing I'm forgetting. Sorry, Pushpa 2, and I also kind of regretted it because it kind of was not as good as Pushpa 1, frankly.
Pushpa 1, yeah.
So it wasn't. So I was like, but I was like, ठीक है देख लिया theater में देख लिया कोई बात नहीं. It was a spectacle for the theater because I realized कि bro मैं TV पे ये नहीं देख सकता because I know that I want people around me to also feel it. वो एक होता है ना community experience.
Many community
So that
experience,
is exactly. So I want a movie where I'm like, कि bro, don't waste my time. Give me good content, and the problem then becomes good content means very different to different people.
yeah.
Right. So that is the challenge that is happening right now, which takes me to my next
No,
question.
somehow,
Yeah.
these people have lost their, even like people
No,
make
go on,
fun
go
of
on. You
Salman
had a
Khan.
point.
People make fun of Salman Khan and all that. He makes trash content, but because you made a point about community experience. I always feel that the kind of movie that he used to make, even 7-8 years back, it was like I have gone to Gaiety. See, I'm a kind of guy. I've seen Bollywood movies in Gaiety, but the kind of movies I actually, a lot of friends pressurize me. I went for a couple of movies in Gaiety. Abhi the recent one, Sikandar. Oh God, it was such a painful experience. That's what I'm saying. So like I have thoroughly enjoyed, see, with college friends and all, guys, I've enjoyed the bung in the theaters. I've enjoyed a Kick. I've still enjoyed a Kick. I think so it was a lame movie, but it was something different. But ye kya bana hai? I'm not still talking about Bajrangi Bhaijaan and all that, which were still relatively better content. That was but the kind of movie that he's making, that other movie that he had made, I know kisi ki bhai kisi ki jaan, oh God, it was like I couldn't even watch 5 minutes of those content. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know, people have somehow lost their touch, I think so. It's like
They are getting old, and everyone other than them has seen it. Everyone other than them has accepted it. They are getting old, and it's fine, right? Like our challenge. See, I respect Amitabh now, who kind of accepted after a point. Okay, मुझे दादाजी का role करना पड़ेगा.
the
I
old
need
is
to
still
do a.
fine, yeah, Saurabh. I still feel like people, for example, Brad Pitt is very old. He's coming up with this new movie F1. Tom Cruise is really old, 60s. He's Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt. I think so. None of these guys are young guys, but still they have figured out. They have reinvented
They can
themselves and
pull
figured
it
out a
off.
niche for
They
themselves.
can still pull it off.
Ah,
These people
yeah,
are not able to pull it off. And I
exactly.
personally feel with the modern sensibilities, why is a 60-year-old dude romancing a 20-year-old, 22-year-old? Like, come on, man. You will not. If anyone remembers Top Gun Maverick, the girl who is not a girl there, it's a woman. It's the
Woman.
same
Yeah,
Jennifer Connelly. Like, वो उसको
right,
वापस she's 45 or something, she's 50, nearing 50, he's
right, right.
himself old, so they show कि there is age appropriate or a
Age
romance
appropriate.
hai.
Correct,
You're
correct.
not insulting my intelligence, like I can. Come on, man. So that is, or maybe
Because
once
she's
again,
been
right,
through a
modern
lot. He's
sensibility,
been through a lot. People are evolved people.
they bond on
They can
that.
connect at different level. Not just like a young girl, on the beach, and he starts romancing that out of nowhere. So
uh,
that's what we are still
Out of
in that
yeah,
phase.
exactly. So once again, we are part of that 30 million who are too smart for our own good, right? So we obviously disqualified from the Gaiety Galaxy crowd. So
Right,
unfortunately, because I also want to feel part of a crowd, but I'm not able to. It's very
right.
difficult, right? When we went for Interstellar, a rerun in IMAX, like people started clapping and people were emotional, people were crying.
Insane.
And it's insane.
Having
Like
watched it so many
I can
times,
admit,
the experiences.
yeah, I cry every time I see that scene. Like I'm like, नहीं यार ये नहीं देख सकता मैं थिएटर में भी रोया हूँ, मैं टीवी के सामने रोया हूँ, मैं उस वापस थिएटर में जाके रो रहा हूँ, क्या चल रहा है ये? So insane whatever he's made, and it's crazy. But which takes me to my last question in a way about this topic at least. Did you see what Google Gemini came up with called VO3? Their flow model can create videos where people can speak. Did you,
I
AI
did not.
can create, I'll show, AI can create videos on its own right now. Matlab, you can just prompt that
I
a
know, I know.
sailor speaking XYZ and it looks
Right,
as good as real.
right,
And now with AI coming out there, we can create a 1 hour long movie in a few lakhs. Like दो
right.
तीन लाख रुपए में तुम 1 घंटे का movie बना सकते हैं. And this is like 1-2 years down the line, so you will not be able to figure out any difference. अभी तो फिर भी
Right,
it is 99% there.
right.
That 99 will become 99.99, and most human beings will not figure out कि bro, this
This
is not
big
real.
protest going on in Hollywood because they,
Exactly.
wanted the rights of the people, and so that they could use them,
Yeah,
create
that but
multiple
that was
movies.
done. That those
Huh.
were the strikes.
Right,
Yeah, those were the strikes. But now my point is, what do you think when anyone and everyone, people like you and me, with a few thousand rupees, will be able to come up with a 20-minute AI story, a short movie, a short story? How will that impact Bollywood? How will that impact Hollywood? Because I can already see the production costs are going down. It's basically what YouTube did to video production. This is going
right,
to do for music, like movie production, right? So now anyone can come up with like a movie. So my point is that then we can actually see different stories come to light,
right,
stories which
right,
the mainstream media will not put out. I mean, there is
right,
danger to it also because you can
right,
create
right,
anything with that.
right, right,
I'm forget that part for 1 second. The 10% of the people will do bad things. 90% of the people are doing good things with it. I can create a movie about a fleet of owls who are fighter pilots. This and they are
right,
fighting a
right,
fleet of falcons. So it's falcon versus owls. Like right now, I made something up. But if
right,
I make a story good enough, what are their motivations, what are the problems, and how they resolve it, that
right.
will you not watch it? A 15-20 minute video, if you see 1 lakh views are there.
No, definitely.
Basically, that's my question. Like, does Bollywood have a chance in that case? Hollywood have a chance in that case
See,
going
obviously,
forward?
that's what I'm saying. Obviously, it will be difficult. Obviously, it's not just art. Obviously, AI can create those videos, but the quality of content, it's always like it needs human intervention. So for that, like people, the thought process, the it's like it'll create multiple sets of. Obviously, it'll create a lot. They can AI can create a lot of content, but obviously, the thought behind that, that has to be still be driven by humans. I think so. Yeah, they have to fine tune and filter out the content and figure out the end product has to be good. That's what I think so. That obviously because I think so the entire protest in Hollywood was mostly about that. Like people can take the rights of, they were against they can take the rights of Robert Downey Jr. once, and like I shoot a content with you and then start creating multiple assets with you. So Robert Downey Jr. has a he's created some
Royalty.
uh,
Yeah.
legacy of his, create done a lot of quality work over the years. He's evolved over the years, but it might create a lot of videos which might not be in sync with what he believes in, or he might not, it's like AI can create, like if it's given a situation, he might decide to emote Robert's, they might take Robert Downey Jr.'s voice and face and create that video, but he might perceive that situation very differently. So he's saying that basically the situation, that's his intellect, that's his understanding, that's his what he's learned over the last 20 years of working. So he might perceive it
Yeah.
enact it differently, so that might create something completely different. That's what I'm saying. So human intervention will always be necessary, but that's what I'm saying. So Hollywood, obviously, because we have good minds there, so obviously
Yes.
it will use these resources to good. That's what I completely believe. But obviously they'll create lot more content, lot more. Might be
Yes.
snackable content, OTTs where just like we have lot of series, and the quantity, we'll have plethora of content. I still believe because of AI, but we won't
Yeah.
have like the quality of content. Obviously they'll figure out. Obviously, or go 80-90, whatever the ratio is. The As long as it's tied up to a good studio or a good movie maker, and who's trying to figure out what is the good content, you'll only put out good content. Obviously they'll have a particular fan following, but if you start putting out all jo bhi ban raha hai, so obviously people will start consuming that. This is not good for matlab,
Yeah, yeah.
not
Ultimately,
what
quality will matter. Even if you
quality
have
will matter.
quantity, ultimately quality will matter no
Quality will
matter
matter.
what. So that's a very good point. So there are two aspects to this. One is actual studios, instead of spending 100 million, they can spend only 10 million and they can churn out a movie. Right. So
Right,
there are efficiency gains, there are operational improvements, right?
right,
There is a productivity boost that they'll get. But that is on a macro level, on an enterprise level. on an individual level or a small and medium enterprise level, what happens is you and me can probably just come together. Now, तेरे को camera work कुछ नहीं आता 2 रुपए का, मेरे को acting नहीं आता. But we both, maybe if we have an idea, we have a script, and we
Right.
really know how to work on these tools, we both
Might be
can put
something.
in some money. तू 1 लाख डाल, मैं 1 लाख डालूं, 2 लाख रुपए में, we will create a movie, and we will then put it out on YouTube or whatever distribution we do. And then it's like, okay, now earlier there was no way in hell Paul and
You could do
Shekhar
that.
would ever make anything. But today we are very close to it, right? So
Right.
that is the major revolution I see. But third thing, you know what is the biggest winner? Who's the biggest winner out of this? Geo Hotstar. Because distribution matters the most. Because तुम बनाओ जितना भी बनाना है, कहाँ होस्ट करोगे? YouTube पे तो there are billions of videos. So ultimately you still have those OTT platforms who will be, I'm not saying gatekeepers, but they will be those people who will kind of decide
Right. You need
that,
some platform actually to put
you
your
need a
video out.
platform that I'll distribute. So distribution is a moat that AI will not able to beat.
Right.
Distribution is a moat.
You need a
So
platform. So there was recently I was reading something about Mark Zuckerberg. So we were talking about
mm,
that in office. So it's like, I don't know if you know about how the ad process works. Like, for example,
mm,
you're saying that AI can completely change this entire thing in the next couple of years. For example, now like we have a lot of media agencies, like creative
mm,
agencies. We have advertisers who come to us. They already have a lot of creatives. Then they have set of target groups, market geography they want to target. We set send out communications like WhatsApp पे हो गया, Instagram पे हो गया, Facebook पे हो गया, and then they take feedback कि कैसा deliver हुआ है, might be clicks, impressions or whatever, मतलब however you're measuring the campaign, then share that feedback with the advertiser, and obviously they can fine tune. This is a huge process. There are a lot of stages involved, a lot of people involved. But with AI, for example, a brand can just directly come to me and say that this is my product or whatever. I, with the help of AI, can create plethora of creatives, because obviously on a real time basis I can keep on creating creatives. I can put them out there and test them out कि कैसा response आ रहा है in all geographies, and actually share more interesting data to with the advertisers कि how what the results are, who are actually using a
yeah,
product or a service, and actually we can
mm,
on a real time basis fine tune the campaigns. It will completely change and remove a lot of intermediate stakeholders who are actually doing their part. People will get
mm,
absorbed in the different places obviously because they're part of this process, but the things will change obviously. You still need a platform, that's what I'm saying. So he wanted to say that obviously you will still need a Facebook, you still need an Instagram, you still need a WhatsApp to reach your people, whoever you want to reach. Obviously there might be the processes might change, how you do that, but
yeah,
obviously that will remain. So that's what I'm saying. Obviously platforms will remain. I'm sure the established ones, especially Facebook or a
yeah.
TikTok or
Or
a
even OTT
OTT
ones
one,
and all.
definitely.
They definitely they will remain. So, Shekhar, I think this was a beautiful conversation. It went on longer than I expected because I think I love chatting with you as usual. Just my last question to the audience, and any last words you want to talk about, any topic you want to talk about, you can. But my last question, because our audience is of young people, right, and people who are starting out their careers or so on and so forth, right? What advice would you give them? What have you learned so far? What advice would you give someone in 2025? They're starting their career or 1 or 2 years into their career. What advice would you give them?
I would see, in a nutshell, I would just say that don't plan everything. Don't try to plan because everything might not go as per your plan. But try to have a basic framework in mind. Be very sincere, obviously, and try to make the most of what you have at that moment. Obviously, things will change. Try to have a positive outlook every situation. I would say there would be a lot of challenges initially when you are starting off. There might be people who will look down upon you. Obviously they feel that you're not good up, not up to the mark. They might judge you for different reasons, obviously. Might be because you are from a good college. Sometimes people judge you because he's still so young, he doesn't understand that comes. Or there might be like he's new to this sector, he won't understand all that. For me, for example, when I just came into media, or when I started off my sales career, so there were a lot of challenges, I think so, but to have a positive outlook, I think so, it always helps. Try to figure out a basic roadmap, I think so, you'll figure out a way. Might not be like at that moment, obviously you might not get that opportunity that you wanted, but in due time, obviously if you keep working hard at it, something or the other, I think so, the universe makes way. You'll figure out a way for yourselves as well, as long as you're positive and try to do good and be true to your work. I think so, that's all.
That's a great piece of advice. Thank you so much, Shekhar. Anything else you want to talk about today?
I think so. It was lovely chatting with you, yeah, as always. It's lovely. I think so. That's what we always overshoot when we and we. actually, this is like whenever we meet, it's not like
Exactly.
it's actually a scripted episode. Like, this is what we talk about, random topics, and just we get carried away with one topic. It's just been phenomenal chatting with you, and
Yeah.
I wish you all the best. I think so. I hope to see this platform grow like multi-folds over the couple of years.
I think we should have an episode every 6 months or so, because then we can actually discuss what has
I
happened,
think
what
so.
has
Yeah,
not
6 months.
happened.
This 7 years has been too long. I think so. Let's not do that. I've been asking for
Sorry.
this episode for the last 1 year, but yeah, finally this
Yes,
has happened.
please.
I
Yeah.
feel privileged
Dude, I took
finally.
it seriously 6 months ago. So I myself took it seriously in like the month of December. So I'm like, it's been 6 months, so I'm happy that finally. So even in that, I was trying to sort out my individual videos, but great to restart my interviews, because I really love interviewing people, and you're one of
No,
my
it's
best
lovely to see
interviewees.
you do manage this actually along with your work that you do. I'm sure it's really with this like obviously going parallelly. I really wish you all the best, and I see you doing really well in future. Obviously, as always, man. Wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, Shekhar. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. If you have any questions for Shekhar, you can reach out to him on LinkedIn. You follow him on LinkedIn, like Shekhar Roy. I think name is same on LinkedIn.
Yes.
What I'll do is I'll put your, in the description. I'll put the link to your profile in the description, right? So, folks, like, comment, subscribe. If there's anything, we will answer your questions. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank
See
you
ya.
so much. Take care. Bye.